after 3 here in South Africa. And because we do have international guests, I think we might have made the error of not letting everybody know what the South African time was when we started. And I'm trying to get a smile from David. And now you know who the culprit was. We were chasing him. He was somewhere else. I won't let it out the bag yet as to where he was. The participants, as you arrive, have a look at the folks that are on the camera and try and work out where they're from. That would really be the best way to say it. I'll let Riaan do the introductions and you can work it out when you take it through there as we get through into the process. I'm going to give it a few more minutes. Today we have got Riaan van den Bergh, our Centre of Technology Manager. We are back with Tech Talk Thursday. We did have Tech Talk Wednesday, not on a Thursday a while ago because of the changes that we've had in the environment, but we are settling down to a Thursday routine. Our provincial managers, just before I hand over to Riaan, there are the details of our provincial managers. I will be sharing that with you during the session. It also reminds me to let you know that we will be dropping information into the chat box. Chat box will be sending information through to you during the course of the session so that you can pick up information that is necessary for you. If you don't pick up any of the information, it will be shared with you live, and we will be sending the recording through to you. The recording is taking place. We will be sending it through to you, and you'll be able to then pick it up from there as well. And we'll send all the necessary links as well. So don't stress too much taking the information. We'll send you what we can as we go through. And with that, I'm going to hand over to Riaan. Riaan is not in Gauteng at the moment. He is in another part of the country, but I'll let Riaan do the introductions. Great, Riaan, over to you.
Thanks, Paul, and welcome to everybody, especially our 4 guests that are also visible on the screen. We've got Bayley. He's in South Africa from a company called SIS Global. He's going to lead in the discussion. And then we've got a guest from the UK, David Langridge. And then all the way from Sweden, we've got Samina and Patrik. It's going to be sharing with us a little bit later. So welcome to you guys. A very international flavor. And I'm in, I just had my passport stamped at Bromfisher International Airport in the heart of the country. I'm in Bloemfontein this afternoon. So coming to you from this side of the country. Welcome. And like always, Tech Talk Thursdays at 3. I'm going to be sharing my screen just to set a little bit of the scene. You must be very aware of my favorite song that I keep singing, and that is in the Center for Technology. We're going to reiterate this. We've got to learn as we live. I'm in a hotel room in Bloemfontein, but I'm connected to people worldwide with my phone as my hotspot. This is the way we live now. So learn as we live, teach as we live, manage as we live, govern as we live, and possibly just start living again as we are living now. New normal, new reality, whatever you want to call it. But the Center for Technology constantly aims to reinforce this message that we have to have our living spaces be mirrored in our education spaces, the tools of our time, the efficiencies that we can get, the data that we can mine, and all these kind of things. So welcome to, once again, the Learn As We Live show, and I'm sure you've heard about that many times. Maybe just a short advertisement for our Tech Talk magazine, the e-magazine that's still on the shelves, meaning on your desktop. Paul will share the link, the shortened link in the chat box for us. So there's a few great articles in there, and a lot of our service providers, which is one of the big aims of the Center for Technology, looking for great solutions that will better the learning outcomes in school. We talk about sensible integration of technology for better learning outcomes. It shouldn't just be a little fad. It shouldn't be something that does not strike a chord with it being a means to a great end, which is better education, better management, and better outcomes in the education space. In saying that, I just took a screenshot of one of the pages of the current e-magazine because I want to talk about that today. So I thought of, over the December holidays, started getting vision for the next cycle of my life, and the Center for Technology. It was SGB election time in March, and by the end of this year, or the budget cycle that SGBs are preparing for now, is for 2022. 2022 till 2030 is 8 years, and the 8 just struck a chord with me, and I thought of a few words that resonate with, or that end with the sound 8. So I've got activate, those who are passive; automate, routine processes, and we're going to talk about those today; celebrate, We've got to celebrate progress and change. And then it ends with ideate, innovate, and integrate. And today we're talking about innovative solutions that I came across in the market. Ian and I met each other, we had some talks, and he's bringing two very distinctive, innovative solutions that will help the lives of teachers and the teaching community. We want to reiterate, innovate for the better. Don't just innovate with no outcome and no impact, but let's start thinking new. Let's start getting out of the box sometimes and just innovate for better quality, better outcomes, and better efficiency. In the budget cycle that schools are in, I want to reiterate and I want to put it front and center on the radar. Time is not just time. Time is in most cases money. And if you can save time, you save money. Most of our schools reported that their staff budget is probably in the region of 55 to 65% of their total budget. If staff are not fully efficient, you're not getting the outcome that you want, and you're spending a lot of money on that. So let's think of saving time. It translates to saving money. More efficient means better outcomes. And in saying that, Ian, I'm going to hand over to you, ask you to open your mic. How can what we're talking about today play to this of saving time, saving money, making us more efficient, and giving us better outcomes? Welcome to the stage, Ian. You can introduce yourself slightly if you want. Just make sure your mic is open. I see it's still closed. And then the stage is yours. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Riaan, and thanks for having us and our team with you. I'm just going to share my screen quickly. Let me know once it's displayed. So just leading on from what Riaan had to say, obviously, we are trying to help you to drive innovation, use innovation to drive your efficiencies and improve the way you do things. And just from my background, I've been in the higher education industry for probably around 20 years. Little less time in the K-12 sector, but having said that, have built the education business unit of SIS Global to support both the higher and the K-12 sectors. And in those sectors, we are delivering across multiple different geographies and delivering really innovative solutions. We are a global education system integrator. This means that we develop, design, and implement transformational IT strategies and solutions for higher education, vocational colleges, schools, research institutions, and corporate training organizations that want to invest and focus on maximizing the overall performance and long-term business vision. We understand the intricacies of the education sector, from schools and colleges to universities. So the nice thing about it is our staff comes from the environment, I come from the environment. We're able to understand the requirements, and we've built solutions to be able to deliver against those requirements and to help those institutions become more efficient. In doing so, we obviously, this just gives an indication of our global footprint. As you can see from the geography dispersed, people on the call, I'm in South Africa. From my background, you may tell which city I am in. From obviously, the rest of our team is from our partners around the world, but we also deliver projects across the globe. And we have offices in multiple countries as well. We have a UK office in Mauritius, Australia, US, etc. So we are a global company, and we have customers around the world. So what we do for you, we help you to attract students. We deliver student-friendly systems for the digital era. We help you to drive tangible digital transformation outcomes, which help you to improve your results, accelerate your business growth, and enable next generation student experiences. We've got multiple tools that we do that with, some that we built ourselves, which we house in our Fusion ISV area. We're also Microsoft partners. We partner with other global enterprise players such as Unit4 and Campus Management, and Iconics, which really helps you to manage your facilities, turns lights off, uses IoT and machine learning, etc., to make sure your electricity and your power utilities usage, etc., is very well managed. But in terms of today's session, because of the small amount of time we have, we're going to focus on two of our partners, which are Dugga and Skooler, which are really have the ability to both help you with on-site learning as well as remote learning, and given our lockdown situations that are up and down all the time, in addition to the efficiencies that they can offer, I think these products will be very interesting to you. And with that, I will hand over to Patrik from Dugga.
Okay, thank you very much, Ian, and hi everybody. My name is Patrik Nilsson, and I am one of the founders of Dugga, and I'm going to see if I can, no, let's see, now I clicked on the wrong place, so I'm going to click here and there, like that. Now I'm supposed to see if you can see something. There you go. I hope that you can see something.
All good.
Okay, sounds great. Patrik Nilsson, that's me. And as I mentioned, I'm one of the founders of Dugga Digital Assessment, which is all about knowledge assessment. We're really happy that we were selected as the Microsoft Partner of the Year in education and also globally. And I have a background as a teacher, just like many of you. So I've been working as a teacher since 1987. And since 1994, I've been working as a teacher, researcher, assistant professor in higher education at different kinds of higher institutions, universities. And my last position was at Stockholm School of Economics, which is an elite school in the Nordic countries. And what I did there was actually, I started by doing some research project that eventually became Dugga, because we wanted to digitalize the way that we're doing exams and knowledge assessment. So Dugga is all about knowledge assessment. And as you can see, what Dugga is providing is a complete solution for tests, quizzes, exams, home exams, assignments, homework, diagnostic tests, and so much more. And you can do it in class or you can do it remote. So it is all up to you what way you want to do it. Of course, Dugga, now it has been so much talk about doing things remote, but Dugga was mainly developed to be used in class. So in addition to that, Dugga is for all subjects and levels of education. Dugga is platform and operating system independent. You can bring your own device, which means that you could either use the devices that the schools are providing or otherwise the devices that the students are having themselves. And it works for Windows, Mac, Chromebooks, iPads, and so on. This thing about security is also important. So we have more security options and security solutions than any other platform in the world. And of course, you can also use plagiarism analysis in addition to lockdown, for instance. If you have an exam, if you have an assignment, you can use plagiarism analysis such as Turnitin or original that you can integrate with. Dugga works with the digital ecosystem, which is really important with single sign-on and onboarding so that it goes fast so that the school can start immediately. We have several schools that are buying Dugga one day and starts working the next day. So since we're a Microsoft partner, we're focusing very much on Microsoft O365 and Teams. So there's a lot of schools all over the world in more than 100 countries that are using Dugga together with Teams. But you can, of course, use Dugga together with Google and also other platforms as well. State-of-the-art user interface, and we're always getting the highest score among platforms. So Dugga, we started as a research project, and what we're doing is supported by research. And when we're bringing forward new functionality and so on, then we're doing that also based on research. And when we were starting Dugga, the research project, since we were teachers, we were really egocentric. So we were looking at how we as teachers could save time. And we could, when we eventually, when we developed the platform, we realized we can save a lot of time. But we also realized that students, they can save a lot of time. It goes twice as fast compared to handwritten exams to do exams with Dugga. And thereby you can release a lot of stress. The students are more calm when they're using Dugga. And remember that this is based on research, what I'm saying. Automatic marking and grading, auto-learning, share best practice with colleagues like questions and exams and assignments and tests and so on. Research also shows that students are providing better answers when they are using Dugga. So there is, this solution provides something tangible to the table. by the students being able to provide better answers when they're using Dugga. We have accessibility tools that are integrated for equal opportunities. And it's also fair to use Dugga with anonymous marking, scoring, grading, and so on. And also plagiarism analysis, which in itself makes the students feel that they are doing this assignment, for instance, on equal terms, so that they know that no one of their peers are cheating by plagiarizing. Security is crucial and important. You can use open mode, which means no security. You can use open mode plus plagiarism control if you want to for an assignment, for instance. You can use exit check, which means that you're doing a test, for instance, a minor test, where you use soft security, and you can use it together with Teams, Meet, Zoom, or something like that. And we're using this. This means that the students still can go in and out of an assignment, but the time that they're outside of the assignment will be measured. So that if the teacher, for instance, have given an instruction that you can be outside of the test for 10 minutes to collect information or whatever, and then you're supposed to work in class for another 40 minutes, then you can see whether they are following your instructions. And then, of course, we have full lockdown mode, which means that your computer, your device will be locked down so that the students cannot do anything else than the exam that they have at hand in front of them. And you can use that together with Teams, Google Meet, Zoom, or something like that for live proctoring. So that is an opportunity that you have. And we can see also that this is actually the way that most schools are using Dugga, lockdown together with, for instance, Teams. We have an additional option where you can use full lockdown plus AI proctoring for remote high-stakes exams, for instance. So then you can have a full room scan, you can use the webcam, the microphone, and so on, and there will be a recording of the entire exam session, and then AI will flag whether the student has done something that is inappropriate during the exam session. Yeah, so this was a little bit about security. In addition to that, when we have developed Dugga, we have carefully selected the question types, and of which, of the 20, there are 14 auto-graded or auto-score with auto-scoring. So you can evaluate knowledge in several different ways. You have free text questions. Here you have different question types, multiple choice, like many of you know about, mark information, pair or sort. You have STEM subjects, math, you can use GeoGebra, chemistry, and so on. And I'll just give you a few examples of how it can look like. So this is how Dugga looks like. Now I'm logged in as a teacher, and here I have the question types. I just click with one click, and then I write my question. I can add images, video, audio, documents, and upload everything. And then I can add points, or I can use rubrics if I like rubrics. I can limit the length of an answer. I can have spell check and so on. And then I just go about and create the next and the next question. And then I can copy the exam, I can preview, I can add question, add information, choose from archive. And when I'm done, then I add just an examination date. So I schedule the exam. Here is, and what the question that we just saw was an essay question. If we look at a question type that is called correct answer, then it's a special type of question type that is semi-automatically assessed. Let's say that I write here, what is 4 plus 4? And then I expect the students to write 8. But what if the students are writing 8 with letters rather than 8 with a number? Well, let me show you how it looks like. So after the exam is done, then I go in and look at the answers provided, and the green options that you can see here, now it's sentences. The green ones is what the teacher provided when creating this question. And now I can look at these sentences, and if I think that something is correct, then I just click accept answer. And then I just go about. I have all the students, let's say 100, I think this was 100. And then I just go about and correct. And then all these answers will be added to the database. So the next time that I run these questions, then all these new options that I've accepted, they will also be used to compare with the new answers the next time I'm running this question with students. Let me show you a little bit about how you can create quizzes and exams where you can translate handwriting. So math, for instance, let's say that I have a digital pen, or I have perhaps a touch screen that is suitable for this purpose. Then I can write here as a student, I write on my iPad or with my digital pen, then I write this, and then the system will translate it into computer written text by using AI. So it will be easier for the teacher to read what the student has written. And then I can go for chemistry, of course. Here I have the periodic table, and here to the right, I have this functionality so that I can click on this one, and then I can use a digital pen just like I described. Dugga, we really love Microsoft and we love Teams. We also love Google, we love Canvas, we love many other systems. But right now I'm going to tell you a little bit about Microsoft Teams. So with in front of us now we have Teams here. And number 1, 2, and 3 is from the teacher's perspective. Here I have my exams as a teacher. I click on one exam here and I click schedule exam. And then I can see here, final exam part A. I add a date when it's supposed to start and a time when it's supposed to start, and when it's supposed to, a date for when it's supposed to end, and also a time when it's supposed to end. And then I select a group or a class, and this will of course be all the groups that I have in my Teams setup. So I select a class or group, or I can select an individual student if it would be a re-exam, for instance. And then I click create exam event. And then from the student's point of view, which is number 4, now the student is inside of the Teams calendar. They can see their schedule here, and then they can see, oh, here I have an exam, a Dugga exam. Then I click on that one, and voila, I'm inside of the Dugga exam, and I can just go ahead, read the question, and start answering different questions. Here I have the different questions, and it's just to scroll around between these different questions in any way I want to. Yeah, here we have some accessibility tools with immersive reader that will help me to read. It'll be easier with syllables. I can see the verbs, adjective. I even have pictograms, so I can get the understanding of this word with a mascara, a small mirror, and a lipstick. This is a Swedish word, and it means makeup. And here is also a view where the student then, this is an essay question where they can write whatever they want to. And then when the exam is done and over, the teacher will start marking and grading, scoring and so on. So I'm marking here a text section, and then I write, this is correct. And then I save that. And then on this symbol from the student's point of view, when they hover over this, they will be able to see the comments from the teachers. And then I also insert the points that I think is appropriate for this student. I can give individual feedback also, and I can give feedback to all participants writing something that I think is appropriate here. Yes, so what we offer 2 different kinds of solutions. Dugga Advanced, which is a standalone solution where you don't have to integrate with Teams or Google or anything. So you can just use the platform as you want to. And also we have a premium solution where you can integrate, for instance, with Teams. It can also be with Google or another platform. Okay, and with that said, since we have a little bit of a limited time, and I think that David should get a shot at talking to you guys. So I would just say that please contact us. In the chat, there will be information on how to get in contact with us, sales@dugga.com. This is our phone number. And we'll also provide you with information and a link so that you can try out a demo exam. And it's really cool. So go for that one. And with that said, thank you very much, everybody, for listening to me. My name is Patrik Nilsson, and this is all about knowledge assessment with Dugga. Thanks.
Thanks so much, Patrik. I'm not going to take any time off David's. David, you can open your mic and get ready. If you have any questions for Patrik and Mina will be watching the Q&A box there. Otherwise, we're going to have some time at the end to have interactive questions, but post a question for us there. Then we can chat about it. I will definitely put a few questions forward to Patrik, but thanks for that. David, over to you.
Thanks very much. Hopefully you can see my screen okay.
Just swap at the top.
I know.
There we go. There we go. 100%.
Cool. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for taking some of your time today. I'm going to be now talking to you about Skooler. As it says on the slide, very much a next generation set of learning tools. It's been built exclusively for Microsoft Azure and Microsoft 365. So it actually sits as a set of tools within Microsoft 365, either within a web browser and using Microsoft 365 as standard, or built in within Teams. And I'll show you both screens in a moment so you can see how it works. As it says on the slide, my name is David Langridge. I look after the partnerships, alliances, and market development. And so I work very closely with Ian at SIS Global. So the company itself, Skooler, also Scandinavian based, very similar to Dugga, but literally just across the border. We're actually based in Norway. I know I don't sound overly Norwegian because I'm not. I'm actually based in the UK. Company itself still relatively young, founded in 2015 in Norway, and we've got offices in Norway, UK, Sweden, and also USA. We very much innovate on what Microsoft produces. So this is very much taking all the tools and all the workflow and everything that's within the Microsoft 365 system, and then enhancing it with a set of tools to then make it more, even more relevant for education. So very much really driving that activity. We focus very, very closely with Microsoft 365 and work within that environment. We've got existing customers throughout most of Western Europe, US, Africa, even down as far as Australia as well. We will also localize for each market. So if language translation is needed, yes, we do that, but also localization from a local perspective as to names and labels as to how you refer to specific things. So assignments might be a standard word that we would use in English, but in a different language, the pure translation may not be the correct word that is used within schools. So those labels, etc., can be changed. We also adhere to local government standards and map the system so that when you're doing your lesson plans, it will then map to the relevant local standards in your particular country or region, or if you are part of a Roman Catholic school, for example, then we would then map to those specific school standards that are applied. Student information system partners are key for us. We always, pretty much always, integrate with those to ensure that there's good flow of information back and forth from that student information system. So really, as I said, very much a next generation set of tools built exclusively for Microsoft 365. And then we add the relevant tools. So things like a weekly plan, parent portal, attendance, assignments, communications, etc. Anything that you would do within what you would class as a standard learning management system. But this can be bought as a set of tools should you require to build up the system gently, and or you can go for all the tools in one fell swoop should you want to. Very much a seamless experience. The system looks and feels just like a standard Microsoft system because it sits within that Microsoft 365 environment. I said it will quite happily sit within a web browser. Any web browser you choose will then quite happily run the system, but it will also then sit as tabs within Teams. So if your school is using Teams today, or maybe using it in the future, then this will then be inbuilt straight as tabs within Teams. And I'll show you those screens in a moment. If your school already uses OneNote, we'll already integrate fully with OneNote. And so things like assignments and grading can all be done within OneNote and passed directly across to the Skooler system. So it all accumulates into one gradebook for the student. So regardless of whether you're using OneNote for parts of it, standard Skooler assignments for parts of it, it'll all come together in one system. We've also built an Office add-in for Word, Excel, and PowerPoint, so that when you are building an assignment for a student, that assignment typically would have a Word document as a template, or a PowerPoint document, or Excel sheet. And that then gets written to the student's OneDrive. So the student is building up their personal portfolio of work, plus they never lose a document. Even more important, when that document then is submitted back, the teacher will obviously get pinged. But then when the teacher opens up that document, they can actually grade it from within the document. So none of this switching between screens, you've got the ability of viewing it all on one screen. We use Outlook for all the notifications and assignment, etc. So we haven't had to build our own. We use the Office 365 suite for that. and also then fully support all other apps within the Microsoft 365 suite, such as Sway and Stream. And as Patrik was showing, as far as Dugga is concerned, the immersive reader that Microsoft produces is fully built into Skooler. And so you've got all the accessibility tools built into it using that immersive reader experience as well. So without further ado, let me show you what this system actually looks like. Drag this other screen across and we'll then get underway.
David,
yeah, I know.
Good.
Hopefully you can see that okay now.
All good.
Cool. So this is the dashboard. So I'm just running the web browser version of the system, and I'll show you Teams in a moment, just to show you it's exactly the same, just a different interface for you to use. So it really depends on how you're wanting to operate this. The system itself will operate within a web browser or within Teams, entirely up to you. Standard dashboard, giving you access to often used information. So as a teacher, when they log in, or as a student, I'm logged in as a teacher at the moment. I'm logged in as Megan Bowen, Skooler Middle School. I can see my calendar events, so any assignments that have been pushed out, or if I'm viewing this as a student, the assignments that have come to me. Access to Office 365, external applications can all be viewed from within here. And if you're using a combination of Skooler and Dugga, then that can appear on this menu bar as well. I want to show you just a few key areas. So I'm going to build a lesson plan so you can see how the system itself works. So go and create a plan, give it a title. So let's say we want to do something on Egypt for the next few weeks. You then easily then select that, select a particular grade level. I'm at middle school, I'm running my, my US demo system currently, so I can pick 8th grade. Pick a subject, we'll say this is language arts we're doing, and we're going to do this over the next 2 weeks. The reason for going in here and showing this is then we can then map to the relevant standards that are applicable to your local government or local state standards. As I said, I'm running my US demo system here, so I'll just pick Florida DOE, so the Florida Department of Education. And what the system will then do is then pull all the information for me from Florida DOE specifically for language arts for grades 6 through 8 and allow me to then select those. So we're going to teach reading fluency, reading comprehension at this point, coming down through. We'll also do this one here and this one. I'm just going to pick a couple at random so you can see how the system itself works. And click add and close, and that then adds those into this lesson plan. The beauty of this is it allows me to monitor what lesson standards I'm applying my lesson plans to. So you can then easily check if you're then missing certain elements of your standards that you need to apply, and can then make some rectification and build other lessons into the system to ensure that everything is being taught throughout the year. We can add additional files and additional links at this point if I want to. And then depends on whether I'm a teacher that is maybe not a department head, I can request approval at this point. So it would then go to someone for approval. Or if I'm a department head, it would allow me to assign and publish this lesson plan at this particular moment in time. Click on going back to my list, and I've got the ability to search all of my existing plans. So if I go back to last year's, then I've got all my lesson plans I used last year, and allows me to then replicate those and build them into this year should I want. So that was a quick look at planning. When I go into assignments, what I'll do is I'll go and create a new assignment. And what we're going to do is, well, changing elements, we'll go into science. I'm going to pick an assignment. I've got mine set up so I can choose, but this could automatically default to particular elements. So I'm going to pick middle school science. It allows me to select what scoring format I use. You may be aware of using Teams, that Teams has got an assignment routine, but not as comprehensive as the one within Skooler. And the two will happily coexist. So you can use a mixture of both should you want to. I'm going to pick grades A through F, and I can then categorize my grade book. So we knowledge building, skills building, general competence. Just going to pick this one for the sake of picking it. My students can self-assess, applicable for older age ranges. So it allows me to then allow my students to do self-assessment. I can also then specify a blank handing document. So this is the document I was talking about earlier in the introduction that would automatically post to the student's OneDrive. So he or she can see that at any point. And also when that document comes back in, the teacher knows where to find that document because it's easily accessible. Click on it and it opens up the link. Publish today's date, due date 7 days time. You can then alter that should you wish to. Do you want to allow late turn-in? So do you want to specifically lock the system down, or do you allow students to hand in late? And you can then also specify a further lockdown should you wish to. I can create the document at this point, but clicking on Add More allows me to then do more elements and do more functionality. So here I've got all my base information within the system. I can click on my students. This will then select all of my students. But I could want to omit a couple of students because I may be going to give them an assignment that's based on this one, but a couple of extra elements to then provide them with some stretch goals. You can also set individual due dates. So Adele broke her arm last week. She can't type as easily, therefore I'm going to give her an extra 2 days. Whatever reason, you've got flexibility within the system to really start to apply a lot of personalization within the system. We can also group our students together. So give me a random selection for students in a group that will allow me to group those students and provide a group assignment. You can then let them hand in individual documents, and the system itself would then grade them based on those individual documents. Or I could do a group assignment and a group document, and then make a particular student responsible for that document, and everyone in that group would be graded based on that group document. So again, you've got flexibility within the system here. On the assessment side, as Patrik mentioned, as far as Dugga is concerned, also within here, links to things like Turnitin and Urkunt and various different other plagiarism checkers. We've also got the ability to select rubrics and then apply specific rubrics within the system itself. So for example, I could decide that I wanted to show you this project-based learning one, for example, multiple different columns to different performance levels, and also different weightings as far as the rows are concerned. And then clicking on plus then allows me to get access to all of my systems. So if I want to get them to do a PowerPoint presentation, I can add further blank documents. I can add existing documents from my OneDrive, from SharePoint, from Teams, from OneNote Class Notebook. I can even attach quizzes and plans to this particular document. So there's a quick look at assignments, and then finally to close the loop, gradebook. And so here what we've got the ability of doing, if we go back to a previous year, and the system itself will then compile everything into this overall gradebook. And every single assignment is given a column, and you've then got overall scores and grades, etc., and will then allow me to go into individual students and look at those particular elements. So that was a quick overview of the system itself. And as Patrik mentioned, as far as time is concerned, that was a quick look at the system itself. We've also got a parent portal. So all this information is posted across to a parent portal that then students can then see, parents can then see for their individual students. Even if you've got multiple children at particular schools or in a school district, they've then got access to that information nice and simply. So for things like parent-teacher meetings, all that information is already there and accessible for them. They can see that information either on an app for a phone, either Google or iPhone, or via a web browser to then go and view that information nice and simply. So absence information, disciplinary information, what their gradebook is doing, what assignments they've got. So none of this situation where you're not sure what your child is doing at school, you've got easy access to all the system. And this is all the other options. So an inbuilt messaging system, obviously calendar is using the Outlook calendar. We've just put a skin over the top so you can then filter it down to what you particularly want. So that was pretty much what I was going to show and talk to you about today. Thank you very much for your kind attention. I will hand back to Riaan. Over to you, Riaan.
Thanks, David. Both of you, thanks so much for a very sharpshooter presentation, I understand that there's actually probably a lot more to talk about and demonstrate and show. I want to maybe just pedal back one step. We keep saying this here from the Center of Technology side that we've got to be, and I'm talking to the audience now, we've got to be aware of the fact that everything in the market is not necessarily for all schools. And everything at a school is not necessarily for all involved. So something at a school might not be for all the teachers or for all the learners or for all the parents. And I've seen both of the cases that Dugga can be used maybe in one grade and possibly not in another grade, or in one subject or in one department and possibly not in another, if you look at maths and science and that sort of thing. So for our audience, just, if it doesn't fit everyone in the school, it doesn't mean that it doesn't fit the school in some case. And so on. So yeah, maybe I want to ask you guys a question. The Q&A box has been very quiet. It's like radio silence out there. Patrik, I love the way you say Dugga. I wish you could say it again, but the number one benefit to schools that I see is that of saving time and being very efficient. What would you term, did I read that right? How to assess, make it fair, make it a streamlined process, and then automate a lot of things. What is it that you solve at the school? What is the number one thing that you do that would help teachers and save them time and save the school?
Yeah, as I mentioned initially, when we started, we the developers, we were kind of egocentric and focusing on saving time for the teachers, which we do, because you can have use all those auto-graded and auto-scored question types. So, and not only multiple choice question types, because there's many other platforms out there with multiple choice question types, but so many other ones. And so that is one thing that we're saving a lot of time for teachers and for the school in that sense. But what we realized when students started using Dugga is that they are saving time. So if you have, what we realized, for instance, is when we had exams in higher education, but also in K-12, in grade 4, grade 7, 8, and so on, realized that, okay, the students are saving time, and when the students are saving time, that translates into them having more time sitting, thinking through their answers, editing, and providing better answers, like we said. And this is based then on a research study, or several research studies that have been done, that they provide better answers as a consequence of that they're saving time. So they're both saving time and they're providing better answers. Could it be better?
That sounds great, because I think one of the traps that we fall into is assessing or teaching to the test and testing to the mark, not to the knowledge. So we're slightly running out of time, but it's very interesting. I've got a last question, 2 questions in the chat box, and another one coming in there. What would the costs be? What is available in the South African contexts? What would cost be for a school to start? And then what is the onboarding process? And David, same thing, same question to you before we close. It seems like your David, your solution runs on top of a Microsoft school. So Office 365, obviously the South African schooling environment has that free option of Office 365, but one's got to be journeyed into the process for teachers. One of the number one things to both of you would be, what is required from the teacher to onboard? Because I think that's the main thing. We want to save them time, but they don't have enough time to learn new tricks. So how do they start this? Where do they stop the old behavior and start the new behavior? And then costing, Patrik, please.
Yeah, I can go ahead really short. So what we do is, if we go for the Teams or the O365 Teams Microsoft environment, if I take that as an example, you have a global admin at the school that is responsible for the Teams tenant at the school. We send the link to that person clicks on the link, and then you just integrate it immediately. So after 5 minutes, all the teachers, students, administrators are up and running and can use Dugga. So it doesn't take an integration project of 6 months to do this, and then you have all functionality fully functional. When it comes to the pricing thing, I'm not the best one to to address that issue, because I am working internationally, so I don't know the specifics. But please go and get this trial that we have in the Teams chat. Click on that link and register for the free trial. Then you will get information on that, and also from SIS Global, which is our partner in South Africa, so that you'll get a really great offer. And please remember, FEDSAS 21. Then you'll get a 25% discount. So if you add that or in the communication with us, then you'll get 25% discount. Thank you.
Great stuff. David, teacher onboarding, how is the process? What are we looking at on the effort to launch this?
Yeah, it works in a very, as you would probably imagine, a very similar way to what Patrik described, which is we need the global admin system itself is set up. Then the customer's got a choice, really. It depends if they've already got all their information located in Teams. They could then bring that information across into Skooler. So they're setting it up from their Teams environment, if you like. If they're not using Teams and would prefer to use the student information system that they've got within their school, which generally is the majority way that people work today, then yes, we do need to establish a link between those two systems and get that connected. But again, relatively easy for us to do. And we can, from a testing perspective initially, or if someone's wanting to do a free trial, they can export the teachers and students into a system. We can get it into Skooler and set the system up very simply for a free trial.
Brilliant. Just the last question, and I'm going to answer it myself. Patrik, I think there was a question, does Dugga run on Google Classroom or parallel to Google Classroom? And I think your presentation did mention that
Yes.
although you are a Microsoft partner, you also run parallel.
Yeah.
But David, your solution is custom built on top of Azure and Office 365. Guys, we've got an interesting question, and I want to flight it if we still have a minute. There's a question that, why don't we showcase South African solutions? And I want to say here that I have looked for South African solutions that do and help with assessments. I've come across one or two, and we've run some information on Adobe's marking tool, but we need innovation. We all use Google, Apple, Microsoft, and yes, there's a local presence, but those are all international companies. And part of the world we're living in now is the global village that we're in. So I would love to see more South African solutions, and I posted it in the Q&A box. Please contact me if there is a solution. We're very keen from a governance point of view, from FEDSAS base. We say each school must procure very well and look at 2-3 options in tendering and procuring. So we love innovation, and with it competition that drives some more innovation. So just wanted to clear that one. Guys, thanks so much for your time. Thanks so much for presenting with us. We probably will do a follow-up on this. I think Dugga really triggered a lot of questions for us, and the assessment side, the lockdown side. David, a lot of schools are onboarding on Microsoft, the free version, the education licensing, A1 and A3 in South Africa. So there's a lot of traction in that. And thank you very much for sharing your time with us, coming from different time zones and different hemisphere. Ian, I don't know if you want to have a quick last word, 10 seconds before we close the session.
Thanks, Riaan, and thanks to our presenters for presenting. I think that these are great partners that we have. I'll reiterate what Riaan says. Where we don't have solutions that meet the needs in South Africa, we go to the global and look to best of breed and bring those back to our markets and deliver them to the schools here. So I'm looking forward to working with any of the schools to drive their requirements and to assist them in the tools that we presented today.
Brilliant. Thanks, Paul. You can close the session for us.
Great. Thank you very much, everybody, and have a wonderful afternoon, evening, wherever it may be. And those that are international, maybe in a slightly different time zone, but thank you very much. Thanks for spending time with us, folks from other parts of the world. Thank you very much, everybody.
Take care. Bye-bye.